Welcome back. So by now, we know how we can install Kali Linux if we're using Windows, macOS on Intel processor, or Linux system. But for those of you who have macOS that uses M1, M2, or M3 chip, we must do something different. We will use something called UTM. And right here on my MacBook, you can see that I'm on the official UTM website where you can download the UTM app. Just click on download right here, save it wherever you want, install it just as any other application. It will take around 10 to 20 seconds to do so. And once you have it done, you should be able to see UTM in your applications. After you do that, you navigate to the Kali Linux official page, navigate to download, navigate to installer images, and right here, you will notice that we have quite a few options. Now, in the previous lectures for Windows users, we mentioned that we should install the 64-bit installer. But for Apple Silicon, we go right here on ARM64 images, and we install the ARM installer image of Kali Linux 2023.4, which is the current version. Now, just by clicking on this, it will start the download process. I already have my Kali Linux downloaded and on my desktop right here. So once you have both of the files ready, you should be good to go. Now, once you have both of the files ready, you want to start your UTM app. Once you start it up, it will look something like this. So it will be an empty window because we don't have any virtual machines so far, and all we want to do is to click on create a new virtual machine. Let's click on that. From here, we want to select virtualize. Click on this. And since Kali Linux is a Linux operating system, we want to select Linux. Here we will have several options as to how we want to boot our Kali Linux. We want to boot from the ISO image that we just downloaded right here. So all we need to do is click on browse and find where you have your ISO image saved. Once you find it, double click on it and it should select it right here. Once you do that, click on continue. And here is where we set up how much hardware we want to allocate to our virtual machine. Now, if you remember, this will only be used while the virtual machine is running. Once we close the virtual machine, all of this hardware that we select right here will be freed and allocated back to our host machine. So in here, I will just leave on 4 gigabytes of RAM, and under the CPU cores, I will select 2. Now you can also leave it on 3 or 4 if you want, but 2 should be enough for it to work properly. I will personally leave this off because it is known to create some issues, so I will not check this option and I'll just click on continue. This is the storage hard disk size settings for our virtual machine. 30 gigabytes is, I believe, minimum. I will just put here 40, which should be more than enough for our Kali Linux virtual machine. Click on continue. And this is the shared directory settings. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's just a shared folder which you can use to transfer files between the Kali Linux virtual machine and your host machine. You can set it up by clicking on browse and picking up your shared directory or shared folder. In my case, I will just click on continue. I do not need to set it up right now, but for you, if you want to have a shared folder where you can transfer the files, please create it and then select it right here. Let's go and continue. Here is the overall settings that we picked for our virtual machine. All we're left to do is give it a name. So let's name it Kali Linux. And let's click on save. And that's it. Our virtual machine is created. Now, all we're left to do is to install the Kali Linux operating system on this virtual machine. But before we do that, we have a few changes to make to this VM settings. To do so, we want to right-click on the VM, click on Edit, and under the display settings right here, we want to change the emulated display card from the current option to this one right here. So just find this specific option, select it, and click on Save. Now, let's try to run our virtual machine. Now you will notice that the virtual machine will start, but after a few seconds, it will just go into black screen mode. If you notice right here, I'm currently stuck in the black screen mode with this dash blinking constantly. Now this might not happen for you, but if it does, what you want to do is you want to shut down the VM, want to completely close it, go back to the settings by right-clicking on the Kali Linux VM, click on Edit, and under Devices, you want to click on New and add Serial. Once you do that, click on Save, and what this will do is it will add additional terminal from which we can continue with our installation. So now that we did that, we can start our virtual machine again. And you will see two windows open up. Put the smaller one in front because this is where we will do our installation from, and go with the regular installation option. Now, graphical install will work too, but on UTM, in some cases, it is known to cause issues, so I would rather go with the regular install option. Click Enter. And here you will notice that the background screen went blinking again, but on the smaller terminal, we got our installation options. So, first question that we get is selecting a language. I'll just proceed with English. Select your location. I will proceed with United States. You can choose your territory or area right here, but it is not that important, so I'll just go with United States. And the keyboard configuration to use, I'll go with American English. Let's wait for the next question to pop up. We get prompted for the host name for the system. Now, by default, it should type in Kali, and I'll just leave it on default. If you do not see Kali right here, you can type it in yourself and then proceed to the continue button. Under the domain name, we'll just leave it blank and proceed to continue. And full name for the user, I'll just select Mr. Hacker. You can type in anything you want right here and click on continue. Same goes for the username. I'll just leave it as Mr. Hacker. And now we type in the password. So this will be the password for the account that you just created. I will type in my password right here. And you will notice that it will be exchanged with asterisks. If you want to show the passwords in clear, just select this option down below. And once you type in your password, click on continue. It will ask you to reconfirm the password. So just do so and click on continue once again. Configure the clock. I'll go with Eastern right here. You pretty much just select whichever time zone you're in. And once you find it, just click on it. Under the partitioning disks, we want to select guided, use entire disk. We will get our hard disk prompted, and if you remember, I selected the 40 gigabytes to be the size of my hard disk. If you chose a different amount, it will be displayed right here. Nonetheless, I will just select virtual disk 1. I will select all files in one partition because it is recommended for the new users, so we'll go with that option. And we will click on Finish Partitioning and Write Changes to Disk. It will ask for confirmation, so do you want to write changes to disks? You want to change to yes, and click it. And this will start the installation process. Now, during this installation process, we will get prompted with a question here and there, and the entire process should take around 40 minutes to finish. Now, it might be more or less, depending on your machine, but it will take some time to finish. So, sit back, enjoy, and let's wait for the next question to pop up. And right after 1 minute, we get this question prompted. So this is the software selection. Now, under the available options, we do not want to change anything. This will be the default settings. So all we want to do is click on continue. And The installation continues, so let's wait for the next question. And here it is. Our installation is done. Now, it took around 10 to 15 minutes for me, maybe less. For you, it might take a little bit longer, but once it finishes, it will lead you back to this install screen. Now, this is because we still have our ISO image loaded up, so even after finishing installation, it prompts us for another installation. What we want to do is we simply want to close the VM and not press anything here, so just close the VM like this, shut it down, close all of the windows, and before we start our Kali Linux again, what we want to do is we want to navigate down here, and under CD/DVD, we want to click on Clear. This will clear our ISO image, and now we will be ready to start the VM again. So just click on Kali Linux. You can already see a different window gets prompted. Let's wait for it to start up. And in just a few seconds, we get our Kali Linux login screen. Type in the username and password that you created during the installation process. So for me, it is Mr. Hacker. And I'll type in my password. And here it is. This is our Kali Linux desktop. Pretty cool, right? It wasn't that hard to do. Now, we will dive deeper into the Kali Linux user interface and all the apps that it has later, but for now on, we're happy that we have it fully installed and working. Okay, awesome. Now that we have Kali Linux ready, let's not waste any more time and let's get to explore it more and more in the next few lectures. See you there.